Hello and welcome back to a Hiya video tutorial. In this tutorial, we will cover how to get yourself set up and connected to your building's Wi-Fi network, as well as how to uh, send out a text message or configure your text message settings, as well as covering time synchronization as much as we can. Although with the simulation, it doesn't quite work. Unfortunately, it interacts with a computer different than it does on a real touchscreen. But I can kind of walk you through it. So here we go. So we're going to go into System, Wi-Fi, and Cell Control. And as you can see, I am not connected to a Wi-Fi network. It says Wi-Fi error, check SSID. And the reason for that is if we go into network settings, you'll see that I've put in some kind of bogus stuff here that it'll never find. So we've got sad Wi-Fi, never going to work as a password, and then sad grow as a grow name. So if you've purchased a Hiya pre-configured Wi-Fi router, all you have to do is click the Set Hiya Wi-Fi Defaults button, and it's going to set all that up. So you can also go in here and just like any other keyboard, type in your own. And that's even true if you buy a Hiya pre-configured Wi-Fi router. We know that that router works quite well with the system. It's not expensive. Not all routers are created equal, so we realize that we need to make sure we sell a router that we know works quite well. Or maybe you just want your grows to be on a dedicated router, which is completely understandable in a lot of cases. So we do sell one, but if you do buy one, you're welcome to reconfigure the SSID and password on your own if you're savvy enough to do so. We just go ahead and set it up as a pre-configured unit for those that don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just click the Set Hiya Wi-Fi defaults, but once again, you can go in here and click on or tap on this and type in whatever your username or SSID and Wi-Fi password are. And then the same is true with the grow name. So if I click that, you're going to see VIS-2000, Hiya Rocks. That's the default. This is probably what you're going to see, well, almost certainly what you're going to see when you receive your system, because we test systems against our pre-configured router that's here in house, and so you'll likely have to change that. We have sad grow as the grow name, so we're going to change that to happy grow. Let's see, and then you'll get an idea how to interface with the keyboard here. Okay, and when I click done here, you're going to get, the system says, please wait. It's looking for that SSID. It found the SSID. Now it's negotiating the password, and the Wi-Fi is connected, and it's going to go out and try and talk to some online servers to make sure that, and there's no data being transmitted, I should note, on the online server. All it's doing, it's the same online servers that your cell phones and other various widgets use. It's just saying, hey, are you out there? And it responds with a message saying, yeah, I am. And that's how the system detects whether or not it's online or not. It's worth noting that this daily drop counts will jump up if one of those servers, if we don't get a reply from one of those servers. That could be because the server's down. It could be because of your own internal Wi-Fi network has issues. Your internet service provider has issues for any number of reasons. I put this in here so that if you have issues with connectivity and you're calling tech support, I'm going to want to know what that number is on your system. That gets reset at midnight every day. So that's just a daily 24-hour dropout count. And then if that happens over four different servers, we consider it disconnected, and we actually trigger an alarm in the system log, letting you know the system's offline. This health light, generally speaking, is blinking about 3/4 of a second or so. That's what you should see normally. There are cases where it will either stay solid or go off. And that's because it's busy doing something, like maybe sending a text or doing what they call an NTP time sync. So it's asking time servers, what time is it? Stuff of that nature, or maybe it's asking one of these online servers if it's out there and it's hanging up for a while. So I put this in here once again for mostly troubleshooting reasons over the phone. So if you're having issues, I may ask you what that light is doing. Most of the time you want to see it doing exactly what you see here, which is blinking at about 3/4 of a second or so. So that's pretty much it as far as configuring your Wi-Fi. Real quickly, I'll put in kind of some bogus stuff for SSID and hit done, and what you're going to see is it'll be smart enough to figure out that your SSID is not available. So there it goes, Wi-Fi error, check SSID. Okay, cool. So we'll go fix that, and then we'll mess up the password here, just so you can see what happens there if you get the wrong password. So it's going to go back out, and what you're going to see is it's actually going to find the router pretty quick because the signal strength is going to show up. But now it's trying to negotiate the password, and it's not going to successfully do that. So it's going to come back and say Wi-Fi error, check password. That takes a little bit because it does try for a while, and it does give up eventually and let you know that it couldn't connect because of a password issue. And there it goes, Wi-Fi error, check password. So I'm just going to go in here real quick and change that, and then do that, and you'll see that it's going to go out and try and renegotiate the password. And there it goes. Now we're connected. We're going to wait till we're online. And you can see as we did all that, there it goes, it's online. You can see as we did all that, we're getting these internet drop counts because those are real. Like we're disconnecting, reconnecting, and so it's counting those as drops. Okay, so now I want to send ourselves a text. So you can configure up to 10 phone numbers in this system to send text to. You can turn on and off which alarms you're okay sending text for. So you have tank volume. If you have a float kit installed, it'll send you a text message if your volume's out of control. Remote shutdown, there's an option to, like, through your alarm system with like an AC module plugged in, you can out of band turn the system off, which is useful if you have something going wrong and you know it and you want to just like not be at the building, but you want to shut it off. Bank comms, so if you have communications errors with bank controllers, you're going to want to know that. So that will send you a text letting you know there's an issue. Volume errors, so that's if your plants didn't get enough water or they got too much water, you'll get a text message letting you know. Version error, that's software version control stuff. Really, if you don't have an issue on your touchscreen interface and it doesn't tell you that, you can probably turn that off, but it's in there if you want it. And then main communications error. So this is like there's the touchscreen and there's a main controller in there that communicates with all the bank controllers. This lets you know if there's an issue with the touchscreen communicating to the main controller within the box. Not much you can do about it other than call us for help, but it'll send you a text letting you know there's an issue. So I'm not going to turn those on just yet, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and I have a Google Voice number that I set up, which is really strictly just for testing. So I don't really care if people see it. Um, 'Cause I don't really use it other for anything for testing here. So 5143. So this is me just putting in a phone number, just like you would put in your phone number. And then I'm going to go ahead and enable that phone number, just like that. Now I'm going to send myself, when you do that, you can come down here and choose to send a test message, and that'll send out a text message that'll say test message for any phone number that's enabled. So I'm going to go ahead and send that now, and you're going to see over here in this area where it says Happy Grow, you can see I've already done some stuff. We're going to get a text message here, and there it goes. This is the new Happy Grow. Tells you the date it sent it on, what time it was, and the message. So I would like to kind of show you what happens if you have an alarm condition. So I will do like a bank comms error, and we'll see what happens here. And then I'm gonna unplug one of the. I actually don't know which banks we have, so let me go in here and under systems. Yeah, so I only have one bank, so I'm gonna go ahead and enable all 6 banks. They're there, so try configure all 6 banks, and now we'll go into here, and that's enabled. So if I unplug number 6, we should get a text message that lets us know. So here we go. There it goes. There we go. So Happy Grow. There's the date, the time it was sent. Bank 6 comms error. So that's currently how you can tell. And then I'm going to go ahead and plug that back in and see. What happens here. Okay, so we're back online again. And Well, I think we are anyway. There we go. So we should get a, okay, normally this is a simulation, so, but normally what'll happen is and because it's a simulation, it doesn't actually do everything exactly right, like the true touchscreen does. But what'll normally happen is you'll get a text that says system recovered, is what really happens, letting you know that it fixed itself. So that's something important to note. Okay, so we're connected to the internet. We showed you how to send a text. So let's talk about time synchronization. So let me go back a little bit just because I'm flipping around pretty quick here. So when you're done, you just click done. You go back into system. We go into settings. So here's a good example of what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this. Uh, and well, no, I'm not, because I can't actually show you. This is a good example. This is the simulation, but this is what you'll see if a main controller fails. This is what you'll see if bank 6 is offline, which it currently is still, because this is a simulation and it doesn't quite get handled like the real world. But I am going to go into this time settings thing, and I can't really show you how to do it because once again, the simulation acts a little bit different than the real touchscreen. But I can kind of mouse over some things, click on some things so you can see what's going on. So normally you wouldn't see this kind of fogged out scenario. It would be much more, easy to see and kind of letting you know you can do something with it. And if you live in the US, you can click in any one of these time zones to choose your current time zone. If you live outside the US, and by the way, this says -6. If you were to click Central Time, that's where Houston is, you would see this -6 show up here too. And this field down here is really there if you don't live in the US and you just want to manually put in your time zone offset, it will do that. You can do that in the US too, and the right box will actually populate for you. But it's where right now it's stuck in this thing where it's like it gave up on a time sync, so it's not going to let you do anything until it gets it. So um, the so if you go into let's see here, yeah, it's not gonna let me click on anything right now. So if you want auto time sync, what this is every day. It's like 3:30 in the morning and 30 seconds in, it'll do an auto NTP sync. So it'll go out and ask a time server what time it is and synchronize. So that way, if the internal clock in this touchscreen is running out, it'll correct itself once a day. So it won't run out more than a few seconds. Daylight savings enable, disable. So obviously these little LEDs come on. If it's enabled, they go off when they're not enabled. So if you want to run daylight savings time, you can enable that, and it'll automatically track when the time shifts. A lot of growers don't use it because they don't want it to shift. They don't want their crops to shift time zone or time, an hour ahead or behind. So they just leave that disabled. But it's there if you need it. It's also worth noting Europe is basically eliminating the daylight savings scenario, and I believe the U.S. just passed a bill to do the same. Could be wrong on that, but I heard that. Forced time sync is like I just want to synchronize the time right now, and you can do that. And as long as it didn't fail when it tried to do a sync, it'll let you do that. So other than that, that's pretty much straightforward. You can click in any one of these normally, and just change the time manually as well, or the date for that matter. So that is pretty much how it works. So that pretty much covers uh, how you get set up on a Wi-Fi network, how you send a text message, how you pick and choose what alarms you want to see in your text messages, as well as how do you configure your system time settings. Hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks for watching, and there'll be more video tutorials to come. Take care.